Plans on playing with a fractured index finger. Before we even move on, Jay, I can only imagine what you might say about this. Is there any way, I can't figure it out, to exploit a player with a hand issue? What would you do?
Draymond Green on the court, right?
This is Jay's favorite subject in the world.
Draymond Green will be on the court.
Exactly what to do, Jay.
Yeah,
you're gonna rake down on it.
Well, Key,
Let me see how you do it.
We had Gilbert Arenas on the show, right?
Yeah.
This was last week, and Gilbert was like, "Well, not every player does that, but certain players might think about that." So if he said certain players, who do you think certain players applies to?
Jay Will.
Who are they playing? You know, who are they playing on Wednesday? They're playing tonight. They're playing Draymond Green.
Draymond Green.
You don't think off a ball screen, Draymond's going to give it a slap?
Draymond Green is going to test it for sure. Can I just see, how would one? Oh, I see. Okay. You took something off that one.
I know.
Usually it's a crisper little smacking sound.
Let me see. I want to see.
There you go. There you go. Jay rakes down on that hand.
Hand is ball, man. Hand is the ball. Same thing.
And ball is life, so is hand life? By syllogism? All right.
You live in a different life. You said hand is life.
8 say ESPN. 8776. 5 years old.
Times get tough, man.
De'Aaron Fox, is he going to be, like, I was surprised at how effective Ja was, although they lost. But Ja, dropped 45. And is it possible De'Aaron Fox could do the same thing?
I mean, look, I'm going to say it, Keith. This is what I love about D. Fox. I'm really I've always been a De'Aaron Fox fan. I did a sit-down with him before the draft, and the way he was talking about the process was it didn't matter what team he was going to be on. He knew who he was, and he knew what time it was. Even the way they lost in the NCAA tournament, Kentucky's known for being a one-and-done program. Like, him and Bam Adebayo were literally crying in the locker room. Like, that's how much it hurt him to lose. And a guy who has a fracture in his finger, there was no question to him when you hear him talk about whether he was going to play or not. He knows what time it is, right? Like, he's going to play. So, like, look,
Does stuff like that make guys like Kawhi look bad? In other words, some guys will play through injury.
One's a sprained knee, the other's, a fractured finger.
No, I agree. I don't think
injuries.
Well, let's put it this way: I don't think it means anything about Kawhi, but it does make it look bad.
So, Jay, Jay say, "Yeah, it was the sprained knee. Of course, they're different injuries." No, it doesn't
make me look
Max, it doesn't make Kawhi.
I'll tell you why it does, Key, and I agree with your assessment. Like, wait, these are two separate things, and it's not the same thing. We shouldn't judge Kawhi, but inevitably,
one's younger, a lot younger.
But inevitably, the impression is some guys play through it like De'Aaron Fox, and some guys don't.
No, if Kawhi had an index finger with a fracture in it, he'd play.
Well, why do you
think he has a knee? He can't play.
Why do you think Kawhi gets criticized then for missing time? He does get criticized.
But there's criticism by certain individuals on certain players. It's not criticism all the way around. But you go ahead, Jay.
No, I was going to say, I think it would be different if there was a different level of communication from Kawhi about those injuries. I think people would feel very differently about it. I don't think people are mad that he's injured. He can't control that. But I think it's how he communicates
people want
to his franchise what the injury is.
People also want to hear him talk about it,
and he don't talk at all.
He don't talk. He had zero.
I apologize for derailing the De'Aaron Fox stuff. It just occurred to me. Is this Warrior series over now, though, because of this injury?
No, I think it's live. I think it's live. I think it's. I mean, if De'Aaron Fox weren't playing, I would think it was over. Mm-hmm. But now the fact that he's still on the court, I think it's still the best series that we have in the game right now.
The fact that he is playing, to me, shows that the injury is not as serious as people may think. When you say fracture or broken or this, that, people automatically assume the worst, right? If a guy can get out there and you put that splint in and that thing's kind of bent a little bit and he's still able to shoot the ball, JC, because I can't shoot. Okay, I can build a house with bricks, but I can't shoot. I don't know, is he pushing the ball? When you shoot a jumper, as a professional basketball player, not as a fake basketball player who played football, but are you using your fingers for rotation?
All fingers.
Are you pushing?
All
are
fingers.
You pushing in the palm? Like, how do you shoot it?
All fingers, Key, and the last finger to touch my shot, because I'm right-handed, is my right index finger. Okay. So for De'Aaron Fox, He keeps the ball a little bit more in his palms, in his left palm when he shoots, but still the last thing to touch the ball is his left index finger, and that's the finger that is fractured.
So if this finger, so if they put that splint in there, and they got the splints with the little spongy situation and kind of like an aluminum underneath, and they bend it a little bit, and so your fingers kind of, I don't know, it's like bent.
Hooks,
and you got all the little.
We don't really wear that in basketball because the ball's in our hands so much that like a hard splint would be more for a finger broken. We wear more like finger sleeves to keep it compressed and to keep the swelling down. Yeah, but that doesn't really keep
the little black thing that Kobe used to wear
over the finger. Yeah, but that doesn't really keep the finger stable, right? You need your fingers to be able to bend to shoot the rock and to dribble the rock like that.
Yes or no, Jay? This is to the following question as we wrap this topic here before we get to some football.
You broke that?
Oh. You said
no, this is right here.
All football players have jacked up fingers. You said
no, my boy, please. Ain't nothing wrong. I got this one messed up. That's it.
You said that when Draymond got the suspension, it was actually a must-win for Sacramento, right? And you turned out to be right. Is this a must-win for Golden State for the same reason? Game 5.
No, because if they lose, they have one of the best home records in the league.
So they can
defend home court. And then Game 7, who are you going to give that edge to, experience-wise?
If you need a quarterback, would you call the Jets about Zach Wilson, KJM? Is it time to say that the Paul George trade in particular, and Kawhi made that, his signing with the Clippers dependent upon them getting Paul George, reportedly. Is it a failure, Jay?
I mean, it's not a failure yet. It's starting to feel that way because of injuries. But the reality of the nature is that they both have one more year left on their contracts. So you have another shot at it. And then the year after that becomes an option year for them both to opt in. So at max, you have 2 years left on that deal. Now,
it'd be amazing if they both stayed healthy in their contract year.
Right, but that's the thing that you always say. Like, if they were healthy and Paul George and Kawhi Leonard are just two narratives that just fit together all the time, right? They both have right knee sprains, but there's no doubt that watching just Russell Westbrook and Norman Powell and the way the Clippers are playing, that even last night, them being down 20 after a 50-point third quarter by the Suns. Let me say it again. A 50-point third quarter by the Suns. They come back with a legit chance to win the game. It's 128 if Russ just makes a little easy chippy at the rim, and that's a different game. They had 3 turnovers in the last minute of the game.
Think about what Jay is saying for a second, everybody. Think about what Jay just said. The Suns were favored to come out of the West. The Clippers, without either one of by far their best 2 players, after the Suns dropped 50 in a quarter, had it tied in the 4th late. I mean, that's insane.
Now it comes down to, Key, what Russell Westbrook decides to do. Now, people say, why are you saying what Russ decides to do? Well, with the mid-level exemption, the most I think the Clippers are able to pay him is probably $6 million. So for Russ, you're at that juncture where, is it about the money? Because what you've just seen from this series in the last couple of games of the regular season is that Russ, with the right personnel around him, is still Russ. Russ is cooking, right? So is it about the money for Russ, or is it about staying in L.A. and giving it a chance, taking less money to potentially win a chip with Kawhi and Paul George, understanding their injury history? That's the question.
Yeah, I think that this stage, and I'll answer for him, unofficially answer for him. I think at this stage of his career, it's going to be more about the environment and the opportunity to do what he was able to do with the Clippers. From what I understand, this was in terms of his career, the most comfortable environment, organization that he's been around, going all the way back to OKC, that he just feels want